Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Vishal Rohra. And I did not ask how to pronounce your last name. Hopefully I got close.
You're close, pretty close. Rohra, yeah.
Rohra, okay, perfect. CEO at Kay.AI. So, Vishal, very nice to connect today. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Hope you're doing well.
I am.
And it looks like you are New York based. We are recording early August 5th. Still the dog days of summer in New York. Still hot and humid, basically.
It's actually pouring out here for the last full week. There was a good amount of rain, so that must have, impacted some risk writing models. But it's otherwise sunny. Yeah.
All right. Right. So we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is K?
Yeah. At K, we are basically on a mission to save thousands, if not millions of hours for the insurance professionals, time away from servicing tasks, repetitive manual tasks. And the way we do it is we're really just building AI coworkers that join your team, work with your existing systems, help you double your book of business without hiring more people and rather working with the same team that you have.
Okay, AI Coworkers.
Yes. Yeah, I think AI Coworkers is a very new, interesting concept as compared to the idea of software in the past, because there's a bunch of point solutions, software as a service providers out there. I think the unlock with large language models and a bunch of interesting models in the AI space has been that you can work with your existing systems, meaning there is no idea of an AI API integration. There is nothing like, hey, I need to create an API integration with EZ Lynx or Applied or Vertafore or any of your carrier portals. The idea is just like, Tony, tomorrow you're going to go ahead and maybe submit some business on behalf of your client. The AI coworker really behaves and reasons through tasks like any coworker and it works with your systems and your processes and adapts very quickly.
Okay, so it reasons through tasks and works with my existing system.
Yeah, I think that's the aha that we are really trying to drive here.
Okay, so are you first targeting underwriting workflow, or are you targeting the broker side, or kind of what's been deployed thus far?
Yes, great question. Our laser focus actually right now is just agencies and brokerages, small to mid-market agencies and brokerages. And even within that, for PNC lines, especially commercial lines, and the type of workflows that we are solving for them. Imagine, let's say you are a 20-person agency. We are helping you automate a lot of your paperwork in submissions and servicing. So everything from when you requested a COI for your client, you send us an email, you get an email back. Whenever you are trying to submit some documents on behalf of your clients, you send us an email, you get the submissions and the codes back. These are the types of workflows that are essentially shaving off about 10 to 20 hours per CSR and helping them essentially work on things that are more relevant to production as opposed to servicing.
Okay, so targeting the same type of tasks that in the past first were done by CSRs, then over the last few years have been outsourced to the Philippines or India or and now outsourcing them to an AI coworker. Okay. What level of insurance understanding does the system have at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So I think the way we think about this is one type of level of understanding you need to have is about just the range of documents that insurance possesses, right? Everything from loss runs to financial documents to risk relevant documents. There's a bunch of just fine-tuning we have done on insurance relevant documents. So that's one system that it already does. But on the other side, it also needs to understand carrier portals. It also needs to understand AMS systems. And every AMS system comes in a different UI, user experience. The process looks different. And over there, we are really just trying to go general purpose, wherein I'm trying to just challenge our engineering to figure out a way that whenever you give me a new AMS system out of nowhere, within a few days, we are able to do the same process because a coworker would also reason through the simple steps of a process and the system and try to learn and do those things, right? So on the documents, it's fine-tuned, but on the systems that you work with, we really just trying to adapt very quickly.
Okay.
But,
So it's based on my existing processes. So in order to learn my existing processes, do you need a very detailed uh what is the word? A very detailed process document, or do you basically watch me do it a couple times and learn it that way?
Exactly. I'm trying to do the second one, or rather, any option that's the least friction for you. So the least friction would mean watching you do it 5 times and just giving us a video recording of it. That's one way. Another way that we try to also do is we hire domain experts internally. So I'm not pestering every agency about their processes. All the general purpose processes I already know from our domain experts. And then I'm really just coming in and saying, hey, this is how we went about it. Does this make sense for you, or are there some small changes that you would do? I think that's also why submissions and servicing in agencies has been a good start, because there is some sort of standardization already there. As we extrapolate ourselves into more claims processes or underwriting processes, there's more nuances per carrier, per underwriter, and those things will be a different challenge as we dive into it.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of feedback are okay. It looks like you launched this a little over a year ago, right? Going on a year and a half.
Yeah, so we got into the insurance industry about 6 months ago, and we onboarded clients, our first set of clients actually 2 months ago, and most of them have been agencies in the Northeast who range anywhere from 10-person agencies to 50-person agencies. Their makeup looks like 80% of their team is operations, and then the remaining 20% is in production and sales. And the idea is, hey, how can we continue growing the business with the same team that we have? And as we all know, employees and retention in this space has been a problem industry-wide.
Yes, retention is very tough in insurance. We have tons of retirements, tons of agencies that have done things the same way for a long time, and that same way is not only inefficient to the expectations of the client today, but extremely expensive. When one of my account managers retires and I have to replace her, and it's always a her when it comes to account managers, so I have to replace her, and when I look around, the skill set, unless I grab somebody like right out of high school and train them from scratch, the skill set of an experienced account manager has become a lot more expensive. I do a ton of recruiting in that space, and basically, demographically, the demographic group that has served that agency service side for a long time is high school educated women. Well, so many women have a college degree nowadays. It's very hard to get them to stick to an account manager role.
Right.
And on top of that, the experienced account managers are very fungible. It's very easy to hire them remotely. So if you're in a high cost of living area like the Northeast, even more so, it's so easy to just, or rather, it's so hard to find local talent.
Yeah, and I'm curious, when you're looking for account managers beyond the demographic itself, you mentioned the skills are fungible. What skills are you looking for?
What I mean by that is somebody that has, let's say, 5+ years of commercial lines account management experience in an independent agency and knows how to use Epic. They can go to any agency as long as the agency is remote friendly. Right. There's 30,000 agencies in the US. Right. There's
very,
a ton of
very transferable sort of skill from
exactly. So the few agencies that are remote friendly can very easily steal talent from other agencies. Before, you were only competing for talent kind of in your local area. All right. So with the agencies that are already onboarded and actually using your system, what kind of feedback are they saying? What kind of ROI are they seeing?
Yeah, I think one, usually it starts with the aha or the magic that I see the most or gives them the most joy is the data entry part of the process. So amongst all sorts of like processes you see even within submissions, there is document extraction, there is document comparison, so comparing two policies, looking at all financial documents and then creating a packet for submissions. But then there's this other piece which is really just going through every carrier portal and filling out the same information, same context in like 10 different locations, right? And when we are able to show them that the AI coworker can work with you and fill those things out very quickly, and like it's almost like give us a carrier today. You can give me a carrier filling website today. Tomorrow I can show you a demo on it, right? So that gives them a lot of joy because who wants to do data entry, right? Like I think who wants to plug in the same information and again and again? So that's
Absolutely.
the positive front. But there's definitely some things that we are learning, right? Which is what does the user experience of something like this look like? Because I don't want to sell another software and make it very complicated and essentially have the amount of time it takes to review the application is the same time it takes to fill out the application. If that's the same, then that's a problem, right? Because you're not going to trust the AI right away. So you need to review the information being filled out and the information being extracted. So now there's two types of iterations that we do. One is how can we keep decreasing the amount of review time in the process? And how do we, that means making more accurate systems, making sure that the review itself is integrated into their systems. So the pop-up appears in the AMS, the pop-up appears at the carrier portal where your software is, right? But on the other side, I think we are trying to see if we can just take the full responsibility from you. So instead of you reviewing it, how about we do the last mile for you? So 95% of that process is fully automated, but then maybe the 5% you're not going to trust us or you're not going to trust the AI with. But if we can make that review time even zero, that would be the biggest value add for them. And the way we are approaching this is to say, how about you just send us an email and you get an email back? An example for this is servicing for COI. The servicing for COI could look like you got some documents from your client, existing client, they want a certificate of insurance. That means let's go through the different AMS steps that you have to take and then finally generate and fulfill that data and create the accord form. That whole process, what if I just finally just give you the COI and give a response? You don't have to look at any review system whatsoever. You don't have to literally deal with any case software. You just send an email, get an email back. And I think that is something that we are experimenting with to really just drive the value even further.
Yeah. How did you realize that insurance was the right application for the technology that you're building?
Yeah, I'll admit it was a convoluted path, that required, because I actually don't come from the insurance industry. I don't have insurance experience, and I'm just really trying to absorb as much information I can over the last 6 months. That's how I am at InsurTech Insights, InsurTech Hartford, meeting a lot of people. That's how we also brought on insurance advisors on our table, right? So that's really just me absorbing. But the reason we went with insurance over other financial services, which is where we initially operated, is we realized the need for operational efficiency is the highest in insurance. As compared to, let's pick a investment bank, let's pick a PE firm, let's pick a bank today, a regional bank, for instance. The amount of manual work being done in insurance is leaps and bounds more than it is somewhere else. And my goal, really just my goal as even the larger vision for the company is really to be like, hey, can I save billions of hours so people can do things that they love and focus on the things that they want to do? And that it just felt like insurance needed this solution the most. And the more people we talked to, the more conferences and agencies that we like showed this idea to, we got like a really good feedback loop going. And that's all we really want to start a company, right?
All right. What else is on the development roadmap that you can already talk about? Where do you want to get this to?
Great question. I think On one side, we briefly talked about the user experience, right? Like, I don't want to talk about AI to our customers at all. Like, I want to do the job for them, and I'm happy to educate our customers on the different possibilities of AI, but the user doesn't care about AI. The user cares about completing their job, right? So user experience matters a lot to us, and we want to iterate there. But I think behind the scenes, our ability to be reliable and robust across systems is a very hard technical problem. Uh, what that means is in the past, you built software and you worked with APIs and you created specific nodes so software can talk to another software, right? And that's what an API does. One software is talking to another software. When you avoid the API landscape altogether and you bring in an AI coworker, you have to assume that your coworker can talk to software like a human would. And that means you need to give the AI coworker all the reasoning abilities like you and I have. And that is a hard problem. That means when I onboard to EZ Lynx, I should be able to onboard to Applied Epic faster as well. When I am onboarded to two AMS systems, maybe I should be able to onboard to two more AMS systems faster. That's also true for carrier systems. That's also true for some of their CRMs that they are working with. So I think from the roadmap internally, technically, there's some really interesting hard challenges so we can actually deliver reliable servicing, because to the end user, any errors and omissions would be terrible for the end user, right? So I think we want to ensure the book of business keeps growing without any E&O claims coming their way.
Perfect. So the licensing piece. My understanding is that if the person that needs to be licensed is the person that is chatting with the client, right? So the AI coworker in the background, there's no regulatory
No.
piece, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a regulatory guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bigger worry is the E&O. Yes. So how will my E&O react if we have a loss because of the system making, because of my AI coworker making a mistake instead of one of my people making a mistake? So how do you prevent against that?
That's a great question. The first prevention is always human in the loop. That's the first prevention, which is how do you build a system that the person in the org is reviewing it. So they didn't do the data entry, they didn't do the typing, but then at least they are able to review it, and they're able to review it with the source document. So there is no replacement to that. I think that is something that should continue to happen, and our job is to make sure that the user experience is faster in that. Because even when you, let's say, onboard an outsource BPO agency to do the job for you, there is an E&O risk applied there. And in there is really just like it's farther away from you. There is almost no control that you have in like an outsourced agency. There are reliability issues. Maybe some new person came in and then the training isn't as to par than some others. I think when you compare this to an outsource agency, what this at least gives you is reliability and growth across the board, because it's a piece of software that learns with you, and it's your best productive employee or operations person, and there's multiple of them, right? And I think that's usually my two answers to this idea of E&O risk, which is saying, one, we need you in the loop, but second, at least the job that we will do will try to be the most accurate and will be consistent in that accuracy. There is no fluctuations in that accuracy as such.
Yeah.
Yeah. What has your experience been with E&O?
What was that?
What has your experience been with E&O?
I have never been an agent, so luckily I've never had to deal with it. My girlfriend helped run a very large agency, so she saw it a good amount. So I know it's an issue. I've luckily never had to deal with it since I've always been carrier side.
Yeah,
right.
no, but this is a serious matter as well, right? I think an agency cares about this a lot, and we need to ensure that we do a good job of it. Yeah.
All right. This is interesting stuff that you're doing. I normally ask about implementation. It sounds like the implementation in this case is super easy because there's no need to API into my system. It's literally, let me show you how I do it a few times. So that's about the easiest implementation ever. What is the pricing like?
I think the way, and we are iterating with feedback from our users, but the one that sticks the most as a pricing structure is every successful workflow completion. So let's say in the submission space, given client data, I want to process those documents, classify those documents, submit it in 10 different websites, and then eventually get a quote. That's one workflow, quote generation being the workflow. We charge per workflow completed, every successful workflow completed. So that's the structure that aligns us well with the way they would maybe hire a CSR, or they would do it with, let's say, a BPO. So everything from like the promise that we are able to make often with some of these workflows is today what you're spending on that one full workflow, given the CSR's time and the time of switching contexts and maintaining employees and retention with BPOs, we can reach like 1/4 of it. And the way, like, and because we are bespoke to your workflows, sometimes that workflow takes 4 hours, which is more expensive to you, or sometimes it takes 1 hour. But if I can slash that time by 80%, that is a no-brainer cost for our users.
Okay. Any fee to get started, and any minimums, or is it a like give it a try, and if you don't love it, just don't use it?
Yeah. One of the things we realized is because we are targeting small and medium-sized agencies, this is often the first automation they're going to ever bring into their agency, right? And these are usually underserved by some of these bigger UiPath or Automation Anywhere sort of companies, which take like hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it happen. We actually did it the other way around, where right now I'm running an innovation program where within 10 weeks, I basically consult and work with all your systems and help you figure out the first automation you need to have. That is going to save you, like, that will be an important piece of the time for your CSRs. And then I implement the full automation, ensure that you're saving 80% manual time on it. At the end of it, you realize, hey, either this is something that you definitely want to continue forward, or this is something that just doesn't save the 80% time. At that point, I can give you money back. But if I am saving you 80% manual time, there's really no brainer for you to essentially say, yeah, I want to continue. And I want to not just do this on one workflow, I want to do this on all the different workflows in my process.
All right. It's definitely very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think the biggest, like, more I went into, I've become familiar with the industry and I need to learn a lot more, is this whole trend of almost 400,000 people retiring over the next few years in the industry, right? And that was very alarming. And that felt like, hey, there is a strong why now for a solution like this. Because when there's such a huge retirement in the industry, that doesn't mean that final customer who's going through a major life change, who wants insurance as soon as possible, is going to then suddenly be blocked. They still want their insurance, right? The insurance industry is very important, but we need to then find creative ways to fill that gap. And that gap is something that I'm excited to work with.
All right. It definitely makes sense to me. Seems the easiest thing to implement ever. The need is definitely there. It's more, as an industry, we are slow to change, and we've been there's been a lot of technological promises made along the way that have not really paid off, that we've thrown a lot of money into as an industry. But thank you for joining me today. Very, very exciting to learn about this, and I hope to see it continue to grow.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have been here, and I'm excited to find ways to essentially solve anything I can with the tools that I have. At the end of the day, I care about one agency at a time, helping them automate a bunch of processes and keep growing the book of business. I think that's the biggest call for us, which is I need feedback. I need your feedback. I need the leaders in the space and their feedback in the space to essentially say, hey, maybe this is a pain point that you're missing, or this is a type of solution that might not work for some of the scenarios that I'm going with. And for maybe even the listeners of your podcast, if you are someone who just wants to provide feedback and I want to grow with the industry and like fill my industry knowledge deficit with and bring all my AI industry knowledge and see how are different ways we can make this whole industry more operationally efficient.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tony. And I'll see you in the next conference.